Today we'll take a look at what the major VC funds and exchanges are investing in right now, so we can find out what coins or projects we might consider buying now in the bear market in order to get tens or even hundreds of X's during the next bull cycle. And we don't want to miss out the next generation of gem projects like Solana, DOT or Atom this cycle, right? My name is Nick, you're watching the Cryptus channel, and let's get started. For today's analytics of investments, we're only looking at the tier 1 VC funds and exchanges with great partnerships and reputation. And these are Sequoia Capital, Multicon Capital, Alameda Research, Andreessen Horowitz, Polychain Capital, and as for exchanges, I've picked Coinbase Ventures, Binance Labs, and FTX Ventures in order to see where the trend with investments of crypto is going right now. Our team has analyzed the investments made by them in the past month, and let's start with a general trend and then walk through the separate projects more in detail to see the projects, what they're looking like, what they're doing, and the potential of what should we buy them or not. In total, these 5 funds and 3 exchanges have invested in 23 projects over the past month with about $523 million worth of overall investment. And if we leave out the major Series A and Series B rounds and the subsequent ones, then this will leave us only with $246 million in early round investments, so seed rounds, strategic rounds, and so on. Let's now compare this with the bullish peak during, or the investments during the bullish peak, the time when Bitcoin was about $69,000 in November 2021. There, the same funds invested $1.6 billion in 27 different projects, but only $140 million before Series A, so in early stages. So yeah, these were investments in the early stage. As we can see right now, fundamentals and architecture infrastructure are what the funds are interested the most right now. While in the past, when there was the bullish trend, a half of the investments of like really big VCs and exchanges was going towards GameFi, play-to-earn projects, and NFTs. Where the job was actually, well, the bull market was trending, was to launch the token, make decent profits from it in a short period of time, and basically then later forget about the project because it's cheaper to just create a new project later in the next bull cycle than keep the token price somewhere alive during the bearish trend. As a rule, during the bull market, you want to invest in hype projects that give you a really simple, really easy access. And as a rule of thumb, they don't necessarily, 95% of these projects don't necessarily make it into the next bull cycle during the bear cycle. That's the phase when low cap projects get pumped up with excessive money in crypto, and then the investors take their gains, or most of their gains, and basically leave. It's usually GameFi projects and hyped up NFT collections on the bull market where the investments are going into, again, for a short period of time until the market is falling. However, right now, this is the phase when really great projects are being developed right now at this moment, and it's them that will take off in the next bull cycle. A good example is, for example, Solana that came out in April 2020, and just as a reminder, the market and Bitcoin started pumping in November 2020, so basically half a year was there a gap in between. Also Atom or Cosmos that got listed in April 2020, and another example is DOT that came out about in September 2020, right before Bitcoin and the whole market started shooting up. And moreover, these are only the dates basically when the coins were listed for public traded. The funds started getting in there much earlier. This means now in the current bear market we basically have 2 options, because history always repeats itself, meaning we can become an ambassador of a great project right now and basically jump into a testnet in an attempt to get whitelisted for the future token sales to get super profit, or we can just keep track of these upcoming projects, basically wait for them to go publicly traded, or wait for them to go be listed publicly, and then buy them for the market price. Make only super profit in that case without the second super. For example, Solana went up from its market price about 500 times. A lot of returns, and Polkadot 18 times from its public trading prices. So there are 2 options here. Either you're early and basically help to develop the project, or you just buy it during the bear market once the project is out and get the returns there on the bull cycle. In indirect confirmation to all this, I mean that it's fundamental projects time right now and not NFTs, no matter how much you might want it, is what types of coins and projects these funds, top tier funds, are investing in right now. $196 million went into Web3, which includes various marketplaces, decentralized social media platforms, and other technical solutions like anti-usable dApps. I don't mean GameFi here, which is 30% of all the total investments. Next is architecture for blockchains, which got $156 million of investments. That's about 30% of all the money. $86 million were put into DeFi. It's lending protocols, DEX protocols, and other services that pose as basically highways for crypto here in the decentralized space, which makes about 16% of all the investment. Next is centralized finance, basically different exchanges, centralized exchanges, and other platforms have gotten 15% or over $80 million of investments in the past 1 month. As for NFTs, they were left with only 0.8% or $4.4 million, and the reason is as before. In the current market, the major VCs are only concerned with fundamental tech solutions, whereas hype doesn't matter right now because the projects need to survive to the next bull market. Then it's time for the hype projects like NFTs and games. So this is how it works. When the market hits the highs, we're out to buy some hyped up stuff and basically sell it more expensive as quick as possible before the market drops again. And in the bear market, we sit tight and invest parts of our portfolio into promising fundamental projects, not GameFi stuff. And of course, this investment has to be diversified since we can't be sure as of which project is going to give us the next 50x returns or 100x returns, but we can only assume the possibility that this is going to happen. So we buy lots of different fundamental coins which are coming out during the bear market, and basically at the end of the bear market is the best option to do so. Also, if you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing to our channel because it does really mean a lot to me and it motivates me to make even more high quality videos more frequently for you. So with that being said, thank you so much for doing so, and now let's move on and look at the particular projects the best VC tier 1 VCs have invested into the past month. The first project among the 23 is Cryptus. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but neither way, it falls into the category of infrastructure, blockchain infrastructure. You might have heard about this project recently because right now there is the Series A of funding. It has gathered $150 million from Multicon Capital, FTX Ventures, and Andreessen Horowitz. It's basically a project that builds a vastly scalable layer 1 blockchain for mass adoption, for mass use. A few things you can actually do here in Cryptus right now is, for example, taking part in the testnet by launching or running a node, which will reward you with tokens of Cryptus, of the project. And if you don't want to bother running a node with basically all that stuff, all technical stuff, you can just buy the tokens when they get listed. But I don't think it will happen anytime soon, maybe like half a year or 1 year, but you can still add this stuff to your watch list. Obviously, the tokens of this project and the common projects in this video are not yet publicly traded or listed yet because they're all still an early stage of investment. So if you want to keep an eye on them, you can just find the links to their websites in the video description, and on the websites you can just find their Discord channels or Twitter accounts and basically subscribe there if any project gets your interest. And I'm not saying that all these projects are top tier projects, I'm just saving your time on gathering the info of what the funds have been invested in or investing in over the past period of a few days. So please do your own research on them. With that said, the next project is DSCVR, and I sorted these projects by date, not by how great they are in my opinion, so there's no bias on this. And DSCVR is a Web3 social network that allows getting airdrops without a third-party wallet, taking basically parts and building tokenized communities and creating content and using NFTs as avatars. And it's mostly made for like fun. $9 million were invested in it during the seed round, with Polychain Ventures being one of the investors among others. Next up is Cardinal. It's a Solana-based protocol that can adjust the NFT expiry date and NFT management transferring. It can also issue digital certificates, NFT collections, event tickets in the form of NFTs, and in-game items and solutions for in-game economies. And one developer can integrate their own products directly through the protocol or deploy the framework onto their own architecture, so it's both end usable. And the project also allows you or gives you a lot of opportunities for staking NFTs and tokens that use this protocol. Alameda Research and Solana Ventures took part as some of the funds that raised $4.4 million for this project. Next one is Hashflow. It's basically a platform that allows making cross-chain swaps without any bridges, similar to Torchain. And the platform allows trading across different blockchains with a 100% guarantee of transaction success, immunity to MEV, and the lowest gas fees in DeFi. Coinbase Ventures took part in this round, and Alameda Research and Kraken participated in the round before that, which raised $25 million for this project. Further on, we've got Sunscreen, a privacy engine for the new web is what they call it. In fact, they make a complicated privacy building tech available to developers they can incorporate into their own projects. So this is basically code you can incorporate into different projects to make it more private. Sunscreen was financed by Polychain Capital and Coinbase Ventures, both of whom brought $4.6 million into this round. The next project is called Meow. It's a startup that is meant to give corporate clients or institutional investors access to crypto markets. FTX Ventures were among the investors, and this round raised the project $7 million. Next one is Empiric metric, and it's decentralized and comfortable data infrastructure. It allows interacting locally with feeds of data through empiric metric SDK or embed paperwork into smart contracts, which is really great. And the round has been started with Alameda Research, FTX Capital, CMT Digital, and a few other investors, with $7 million gathered. Now ZKX goes next, a platform for trading derivatives by granting complicated trading strategies in the form of simple perpetual swaps. Alameda Research and Huobi Capital are some of the investors that took part in the $4.5 million worth of investment. Next is Hologram. It's a Web3 analog of Instagram. This is some sort of social media Web3 project that encourages creating the future of digital identity in an open metaverse. You can already get early access to play it if you want to, or to use it if you want to. And the round with $6.5 million gathered includes Polychain Ventures and a few other investors. Next one on the list is Contago. It's a DEX protocol that implements DeFi futures with the use of lending protocols and crediting services and borrowing services with fixed interest rates. Coinbase Ventures is one of the investors, and the round gathered $4 million. Next up is Farcaster, a decentralized social network, and here's what they've got to say about the use of the project themselves. Users will always have the freedom to move their social identity between applications, and developers will always have the freedom to build applications with new features on this network. And this round saw the participation of Coinbase Ventures, Andreessen Horowitz, and One Confirmation. And the project itself belongs to a software company called Merkle Manufacturing, and the round gathered $30 million. Next one is Morpholabs, a service for lending protocols. The protocol optimizes interest rates for borrowers and lenders by utilizing a higher percentage of their capital and lowering the unused financial reserve within the liquidity pools. The project combines the efficiency of P2P with liquidity of protocol pools, and basically it uses or its users get a higher APY without losing the pool's flexibility, so they can exit if they want to. And the round was made thanks to Andreessen Horowitz, Coinbase Ventures, and many other investors, with a total of $18 million invested. Another project on the list is Genesis Safe, a platform for managing digital assets on Ethereum, important for institutional investors, for example. And the project is financed by Coinbase Ventures and CMT Digital, among other investors, with a total funding of $100 million in this round. Next up is Leafy. It's the next project on our list, and it's a cross-chain bridge that allows exchanging assets and messages important between blockchains. Coinbase Ventures is among the investors, and the overall investment is $5.5 million in this project in this round. Next up we have Hidden Road, not to mix up with the Silk one. It's a global lending network for institutional investors, and the project investors include, for example, Coinbase, and the round was closed with $50 million of investments. Outlayer is the next platform. It's a platform allowing developers to start highly scalable optimistic layers for blockchains projects, so basically optimistic layer 2. Polychain Capital was among the investors, and the project raised $7.2 million in this round. Next one is Magic Square. It's like an app store just for decentralized applications, where you can get all the dApps in one particular place. The project was financed by Binance Labs with $3 million in total, bringing it to the lowest finance projects from our today list. Another one is Mohash, a DeFi lending protocol that gives investors access to sustainable, scalable, and high-yielding backed by real debt assets. And the protocol issues an interchangeable ERC20 token called Mo, which has the claim to be a diversified pool of lending tools. And the round was financed by Sequoia Capital and Coinbase Ventures with $6 million in total. The next project is Soba, a service that provides tools based on several blockchains that allow developing blockchain games right on your smartphone, as they say it. And the project is financed by FTX Ventures, and in this round with $30.5 million. Next is Dynamic. It's a platform for authentication and authorization based on multi-chain wallets. And basically, the platform sets up an account for you that you can use to log in into various web services or decentralized applications with your wallet or multiple wallets. And among other VCs, here we have Andreessen Horowitz and Solana Ventures. And the project gathered $7.5 million. Solanera comes next. It's a new proof-of-stake blockchain protocol with low latency of dApps and doubled capacity of processing user transactions. Doubled against what? So there is no info on that. We didn't cover every project, didn't research every project because we didn't have enough time. This is what at least they claim on their website. Lanera works on a next generation decentralized protocol based on FastPay, and Andreessen Horowitz Timecodes took part in this round, bringing the overall investment up to $6 million. And the last but not least project on our today's list is Flowdesk. It's basically a global financial and technological company that unites over 70 centralized and decentralized exchanges all in one place. It provides a wide range of services for managing digital assets like market making, storage, brokerage services, and so on. Coinbase Ventures was one of the investors with a total sum of $30 million invested in this project in this round. Now, based on all this information, we can make some conclusions. In essence, those top-tier VC funds we covered today are mostly concerned with a few development vectors of crypto, as for today on the bear market. These are, for example, infrastructure of faster and more scalable blockchains, DeFi services for trading and lending assets with a big portion of tech for institutions, especially in terms of increasing locked capital efficiency of capital and the liquidity pools, and social infrastructure. That's the third category. It's not about basically like Instagram on the world of blockchain with your pictures on the blockchain. That's not about this, but rather a service that will unite a lot of wallets and a lot of assets in one place and give you access to various crypto-related services through your wallet, and basically like form your crypto or decentralized or Web3 identity where you have all your assets in one place and people can see who you are on the internet or something like this. Also, this data reinforces the idea that we have to look towards fundamental projects and DeFi infrastructure rather than silly games at this stage of the market. I'm not saying GameFi is bad or that it's going to die, not at all. It's just not the right time for those projects at the current market situation. Fundamental is the main thing right now, not GameFi. GameFi will be the next thing in the next bull market, not when everything is dying out. So pick projects wisely, buy while the market is low, sell high, do your own research and make sure that the projects you invest in are very unlikely to turn into a scam or never grow back, like GameFi, a lot of GameFi right now, sorry. And then you can tap yourself on the back during the next bull cycle. Well, and that's it for today's video. I hope it has been interesting, useful, and basically informative for you. And I see you in the next videos. Consider subscribing, and bye bye.